Hey guys, it's week 2 of the GBA, and we're going to be starting divisional play this week against GymLeaderGeo, San Francisco GiEnteis, that team that's got like a lot of legendaries on it. And we're going to see what legendaries end up getting brought today. Last week we had highlighted though by the Mega Absol Swords Dance sweep, and that was not a fun time for in the first GBA debut for the New York Metapods. So yeah, we're going to see what we can do about having that not happen this week. We're going to see what sort of stuff is going to get brought, which is going to be no Mega Absol. That's kind of nice. We have a Zapdos, Entei, Manaphy, Nidoking, a Regirock, and an open spot. Hang on, what's going on here? Oh, hang on. We're looking over at the GiEnteis sideline, and that one Pokemon that's like really fat, kind of obese. Geo's trying to get it whipped into shape, but it looks like he's having a hard time getting off the bench. It's gonna be Cresselia over there. He looks like he's tearing into the Cresselia over there. Actually, now has some choice words for that. But okay, Cress looks like it's getting up now. It's gonna be rejoining the team momentarily, so we're gonna try that again. And yes, here we are. Cress is it's on the field. It's doing warm-ups, so we'll now be able to begin. So yeah, so we got a lot of legendaries here who have base 100 speed, and that's gonna be playing a lot of factor into our preparation. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got here. We got a couple of guys making their GBA debut. We're going to actually skip straight to the most ballsy decision that we made this week, which is to bring a magic card, Clefable, and disregard, well, not disregard, find other ways around a Tail Glow Manaphy and a Swords Dance Mega Absol. So one of the reasons I wanted Magic Guard is because if I didn't have Magic Guard, I really would have wanted to run Heal Bell, and I hate running Heal Bell. I think this is going to be a problem that we're going to run into. I hate running Heal Bell with a Gliscor on the team. That's just going to deactivate the Toxic Orb. So in the end, we decided to go for Magic Guard. Also because I was, Tail Glow Manaphy, okay, fine. Swords Dance Mega Absol, okay, fine. But Calm Mind Cress, I don't want to abide by that. I want to Toxic that thing. I want to be able to beat it 1v1 if it has Toxic as well. So we got Moonblast. We have Soft Boiled because that's the other thing too, is I really hate running Unaware because I want to run Soft Boiled. I want that. I want my 10 PP on my healing move. We also have Toxic, as I just said, and the gimmick. Lol, what are we thinking here? We actually have Water Pulse. Which is there because both of his things that resist Fairy are weak to water. So I thought about Psychic for Nidoking, but it doesn't OHKO, so I figured, let's just run Water Pulse and then maybe something cool, fun can happen, so that might be a thing. But going back to the top now, we have Greninja coming this week with Expert Belt, and Greninja went through like a lot of revisions. At first I wanted to run Brick Break to kill Mega Absol. Turns out Frog Flippers don't break bricks very well, so it was going to be low kick if anything. And I was like, you know what, whatever. This is just not going to be any feasible to do. Like, we're going to be better off with just Stab Hydro Pump. So in the end, that's what we decided to do. We just Hydro Pump, Dark Pulse for Stab, and then Ice Beam. And I believe we actually packed Sub. The reason for Sub is for Mega Absol Sucker Punch. And, maybe potentially if we've taken out most of the priority users, namely E-Speed Entei and Sucker Punch from Mega Absol, and potentially Nidoking, maybe we can, sub down into Torrent and actually use the ability that is, that we can use. So that's going to be Ninja. He's going to be, I think 1 speed point. He's still going to be timid. He's going to be 1 speed point over Mega Absol, which isn't brought anyway, but, whatever, precautions. We have Protoman this week, who is unfortunately faster than Absol pre-Mega, but slower post-Mega, so that is why we're going to be bringing Bulk Up, because Bulk Up will allow us to do a Play Rough from Mega Absol, which, is, again, not here, but nonetheless, he is going to be able to outspeed. I believe we actually we ran Jolly. I think I just slowed down to being over the base 100s and just disregarded Misdreavus, or Mismagius. I totally wrote Misdreavus on this sheet here. I always get those two mixed up. I know which one, I know which one I'm talking about. I just get the names wrong. Probably because Misdreavus is really nice, and according to MTG Xerxes, looks like a map of the United States, but that's a joke that very few people will understand. But we do have Bulk Up, we have Drain Punch, and Knockoff, and the final move, I was going to be Sub, leading up to approximately 2 hours before game time, because I was going to sub up on a Cresselia T-Wave, and I thought, you know what, that's literally the only situation I'm going to ever pull a sub. So let's do something else. Let's run Hypnosis, and if it because literally this is how the decision to bring Hypnosis worked. I was leveling up Ralts in the Blissey bases, and it was like Ralts wants or Proto Man wants to learn Hypnosis. I was like, nah, that'll never hit. And then I was thinking about it after I said no. I was like, you know, that could be really cool. That could let us set up some bulk ups. I think I actually like that idea. So it evolved into Cresselia, and then it hit level 44. And it offers learn Hypnosis again. I'm like, alright, let's do this. So we're going to be bringing Hypnosis on Gallade this week. Which is, you know, Gallade gets every status in the game, kind of. It does. It even gets Confuse Ray and, you know, Ice Punch for freeze. So, you know, it doesn't have the best spell save DC in the world, being, you know, a hybrid, you know, warrior mage type of thing going on. But if we can hit Hypnosis, we can get some bulk ups off, and without anything to outspeed it, at least naturally, without Scarf, could be a pretty cool time. So we're going to see about doing that. So a lot of this team also is going to be checks to, you know, because we're not bringing Unaware Fable, we need answers for SD Mega Absol, which were two things that are not going to get OHKO'd by Sucker Punch, they're going to outspeed it. We already mentioned one, which is Gliscor Greninja, and the other is actually going to be a Scarf Timid Magnezone, which this is one of those cool things at level 50 where it outspeeds base 115s by 1 point. At level 100 it gets outsped. So I don't know, anytime something like that happens, it always makes me want to do it. And it's also a check to a Tail Glow Manaphy. Calm Mind Manaphy might, you know, be kind of just the end of this right there, because most of my things that are outspeeding it are going to be hitting it on the special side. So it might be a thing where we just kind of need Raptor Bird to come in, hope it's faster, which conveniently Raptor Bird is next on the list. But we're just max speed, max special attack, which is unfortunately not, you know, able to hit quite as hard as I want. We are analytic because I figure it's going to force some switches, and we'll pick up that little bit of extra damage on the switch. I didn't really see the need for sturdy, since rocks are probably going to come up, and also magnet pull. There's not really anything but trap. There's literally no steel types on the team, and I don't want to get trapped by Ditto, I guess. So we actually have 3 electric moves. We have Thunderbolt, of course, Volt Switch, Thunder, because from full HP we actually need Thunder to OHKO Manaphy because Scarf doesn't give us enough power, Scarf Timid. And then for the last move, I was gonna breed for HP Water, but I figured Flash Cannon is gonna be just as strong against Nidoking, which is what I would primarily want to try to hit it with. The only advantage would be that it would also be able to hit Entei super effectively, but you know, it's not going to hit whether it's Flash Cannon, HP Ice, or Water, whichever, it's not going to be hitting Manaphy super effectively, so, and that's just going to cause us some problems there. So I just decided, you know what, whatever, we'll go with Flash Cannon, we'll go with the chance to drop special defense, something cool can happen. Storm Eagle is going to be Jolly max speed, but because of Regirock, he's got, you know, that's literally why you draft something like Regirock, is to stop bird spam. Although in this case it's going to be normal spam, because we're actually going to be a Scarfed Staraptor, but not Choice Scarfed. We are going to be Silk Scarfed, so we can buff the power of Double Edge a little bit, and we are actually going to pack Roost, which is, you know, maybe if he's trying to wear me down with Rocky Helmet or something, we can pop a Roost and, you know, try to survive and, you know, be able to get 2 more attacks off when he thought I'd only be able to get off 1. I did decide to end up bringing Brave Bird, even though it's not really relevant for most of anything except for, I guess, Miss Drevis. I guess it was also maybe for Chesnaught, but again, I didn't really think it was going to get brought. Could have had U-Turn, could have had... Actually, Sub was possibly on the mind, but ended up deciding not to do that. And last but not least, we have Gliscor, and this is actually... I love this EV spread on Gliscor. It's like every one of these EVs was programmed to do something specific. It was like to make some meaningful thing happen somewhere, but we are actually Jolly with heavy speed investment. I believe we are 1, maybe 2 points over an Adamant max speed base 100. As of course we're not going to outspeed a plus speed base 100. But you know, that might give us you know, a lot of things on his team or base 100 speed. So Entei's not going to enjoy taking an Earthquake, and then things like Zapdos, I'd love to get Toxic. I decided to move Stealth Rock over to Gliscor because I really wanted all the movesets on Fable. I think originally I had Stealth Rock over Water Pulse, but I did not want Nidoking to know that it could come in 100% for scot-free. Then we also just have Toxic to, you know, get some lasting damage on some stuff. So we are of course Poison Heal Toxic Orb, because why would you really run anything else unless you're running maybe like Sword Stance? I don't know, we might end up running something else. But that's going to be it for the team breakdown, so we will go ahead and get started now and try to figure out what I want to have for leading. Alright, so now that Cress is, actually with us instead of chilling on the bench being fat, we can actually begin the game. So it's going to be Gliscor versus Nidoking, and the first thing that enters my mind is, of course, Ice Beam. Second thing that enters my mind is it Scarfed? Because that's a distinct possibility. If it is not Scarfed, I'm definitely going to be outspeeding it, because this Gliscor is outspeeding anything that's, Adamant base 100. So, of course, it's going to be I believe that's also going to outspeed Nidoking quite handily. So a couple of options that we can do if we want to stay in. They could Earthquake it, which unfortunately, despite being stab super effective, is not going to be quite enough to kill. The Nidos are not completely frail. Nidoqueen, of course, is usually thought of as being, less frail than Nidoking, but Nidoking still has a decent amount of bulk. I can also just run a quick Stealth Rock and then see what we want to do from there. Maybe get Toxic Orb activated, but in the end, since I'm thinking on Ice Beam, I kind of just want to threaten this thing out. I believe we're just going to end up going into Greninja, who's going to, if he does throw Ice Beam my way, then it's going to be able to resist it. And instead he just wants to run a quick Stealth Rock, and it's not great since we don't have a spinner, but, that just means I need to try to get mine up as soon as possible. So, now that Ninja's actually in here, I guess I perhaps see the, the whole, thing around his neck, and I'm thinking, sash, it's not only a scarf, but maybe also a sash. Sash Nidolee is definitely a plausible thing, and it kind of makes me not want to click Hydro Pump for a couple of reasons. First off, he could easily go into either Manaphy or Cress, which will not care too much about Hydro Pump, and I would rather Dark Pulse those things. In addition, if he does happen to be sashed and stays in, trying to T-Bolt and kill me off, then Dark Pulse can flinch, so maybe we can get that going our way too. So it is going to be a Dark Pulse, and it does some decent damage to Manaphy. Considering that's not any sort of an item booster, it's just purely stab. So, looks like it's going to be not overtly defensive, probably just like offensively built with leftovers is going to be my guess based on that damage and the fact that it has lefties. So the question is, what do we want to go into here? If he wants to be super effective-y to me, then he can just throw out Energy Ball. If I wanted to be super effective-y to him, then I would probably have Chesnaught, and that, actually, HP Grass might actually deal more, but regardless, I don't have either of those things, because I figured, whatever, Stab, Dark Pulse is going to be, Stab Dark Pulse is going to be better anyway. It's going to be 80 times 1.5, it'll be 120 in either way. So, yeah, HP Grass was not at all on the radar for this week. So instead, we're going to switch out, and I believe we go into Magnezone, since I'm pretty sure Manaphy gets Dazzling Gleam, but whether it's Dazzling Gleam or Energy Ball, it will be resisted by Zone, and if it wants to be a Scald, then at least it's going to be something that's not going to be, offensively hindered by the burn. So, he does Scald, but thankfully he does not get the burn. So, based on that damage, looks like it is probably fully invested in Spatak, I think is what I calced. Probably. But anyway. So we have a conundrum here, which is he does have a ground type, and that's going to be generally bad news for, choiced electric users. He is at, that little bit of damage that Ninja was able to deal should put him in range based on how much Dark Pulse did for a Thunderbolt KO, so I won't have to resort to Thunder just yet. But at the same time, I also don't want to get stuck into Thunder when Nido's coming in here, and yeah, it's going to be a bad time. I'm going to presume that he's, pretty well thinking that Zone's going to be Scarfed, since that makes a lot of sense. So we are going to click Flash Cannon, and we're going to see how much it does. And it does a decent amount, but, it's not going to KO since it's not spexed. Thought about running HP Water, as I might have mentioned earlier, which might have actually been pretty okay here, depending on what he expected when he saw Hidden Power super effective. But again, like before, it would have been the same, I think, damage anyway, right? Yeah, it would have been base 120. Would have been, 120 result either way from the stuff. But the problem is that Flash Cannon is resisted by Entei and whatnot, whereas HP Water is not, which, I don't know, it might have, maybe it could have faked HP Ice, and then that could have been kind of cool, but Manaphy resists HP Water and Ice. So, just whichever move I use to try to, beat up Nidoking. I suppose I could have tried HP Sign. No, that's reaching a little bit far. But he does go into Entei. And we're going to get a Analytic Boosted Flash Cannon off again, which is going to deal a decent amount, but that's with Analytic, so we're not going to be dealing that much. And I'm going to presume that it is going to be Choice Banded, which is the first set that comes up on the calc, and seems to be a pretty logical thing to bring, given that I don't have a Fire Absorber on my team. I actually kind of thought about grabbing one in free agency, but I figured, we'll let this game, we'll have a rematch later in the season if things do start to go south. And I want to try to tweak some things up. We might have a slightly different team matchup by then. But yeah, definitely the, CB Fire is going to be good. So, as for what's going to be well to switch into that, well, Fable's going to get 2-hit code if it is CB, which I'm going to presume it is. I want to keep this thing around because it can check Manaphy. So we're going to go into, once again, Greninja and utilize those resistances that he possesses. And it is going to be a Sacred Fire, and it's going to deal about 100 points, which is going to be Choice Band damage range. So, this does also put us in the Torrent, and thankfully it also does not get the burn, so sometimes the 50% chance actually goes our way. Once again, we have choice of moves to do right here. We could throw out a Hydro Pump, but again, I don't really think he's going to stay in and let Entei die. So I think it's maybe Dark Pulse. I don't think Ice Beam. Yeah, Ice Beam's not going to. Yeah, it's probably just going to be a Dark. Actually, no. I believe what we actually do here is switch into Gliscor. Yes, we do. Because I'm expecting Manaphy to come in again, and I know that sounds really weird. Why am I doubling into Gliscor expecting Manaphy to come in? I really, really want Stealth Rock up at this point, and I think I'm hoping that... I feel like Gliscor's going to be able to outspeed Manaphy, is the hope and the dream right now. So that is, in fact, exactly what happens. I guess either that or maybe if Cress comes in trying to resist... Well, it's not going to resist Dark Pulse, but, So, anyway, we get Toxic Orb activated, which that could have been terrible if he stayed in Sacred Fired and proceeded to burn us instead of getting Toxic Orb up. But now that Toxic Orb is up, Gliscor can kind of, sort of handle Entei. We can, roost around and Toxic Heal enough of it off. But while that is a thing that we can do, I'm also thinking I kind of just want to... I really want to get Stealth Rock up. We can also go ahead and get some damage off with Earthquake and put it in range for Zone, but again, Nidoking is still around. So if nothing else, I want Gliscor to get Stealth Rock up. I'd like him to get this thing Toxic as well, but thankfully we do outspeed. So it was a bit of a risk there if he was going to be timid, but looks like he's not going to be timid. Or if he is timid, he's not anywhere close to max speed. As this thing, I believe, is like 1, maybe 2 points over a timid. And on top of that, I knew I would live a Scald if he opted for Scald over Ice Beam, or at least I was pretty sure I would. And thankfully we do, which means Gliscor is in range of... That's not exactly usable hit points, but since we're outspeeding a lot of, probably just about everything on the team actually, that is going to be to the point that I kind of want to preserve it, and I kind of want to go into Clefable. Again, the operative word this week was, I'm going to be kind of ballsy and, hope that he's not going to bother bringing setup things, because we're going to bring Magic Guard Clefable so that it can 1v1 Crest a little bit better, actually a lot better. And that's not, in fact, the thing, what happens. So, we will, however, still be able to live a +3 Scald. So we at least have that going for us. But nothing wants to switch in, and at this point I kind of just have to use, Magnezone for what it's worth. But I would rather have a little bit of chip damage on there to allow me to have to Thunderbolt instead of Thunder, which, even though Nidoking is an obvious bring in, at that point I kind of have to make that play. So we're still going to click Toxic because it's going to be more damage over time, and unfortunately that's not the thing that actually connects. So, well, you know what, no, I don't think that was a bad play. I think long-term getting Toxic on there was going to be better, because Moonblast, while it would have put it in range for Thunderbolt to come in instead of Thunder, most likely he just switches out immediately, goes in Nidoking, eventually Leftovers ends up covering it. So I think getting the damage over time with Toxic was worth the risk of putting on guaranteed damage with Moonblast. So unfortunately Fable's just going to end up taking a dirt nap here, as it's going to be unable to do anything whatsoever due to the missed Toxic. And kind of a forced hand here, which is going to be dropping in Magnezone, and I kind of have to click Thunder because Toxic missed. I kind of have to click Thunder, and it's probably not really going to be that relevant since he's just going to go into Nidoking, and certainly the thought that I could just click Flash Cannon, but the problem is if I do click Flash Cannon, what happens? He just immediately free drops in Manaphy again, sets up another Tail Glow, and then we have to switch out and have something else die, and then bring in Zone, and at least at that point I'd be able to actually go for my electric moves freely. But in the end I'm just going to make the safe play, and that was sort of the thought process, is that if I do kill a Flash Cannon, well, either GiEnteis is going to come in or Manaphy is going to come in on the free drop, and then some other things are going to die, whereas here, I don't know, maybe we can make something happen. Ground is going to be the expected move, of course, which, again, it's one of the great things about Magnezone tandeming with Gliscor and Empoleon not appearing here, is we're going to be able to float over a ground move. But he's actually going to go Sludge Wave, which, you know, might have been a stalemate right there. And unfortunately, despite the resist, perhaps due to Stealth Rock damage, Gliscor is not able to take it. Otherwise, we would have been able to, I don't know, probably just more roosted up at that point. But we now have a chance to drop in somebody else, and I believe I decide this is going to be as good a time as any to go ahead and drop in Gallade, because I think he's probably going to switch, because again, I really think he wants to preserve Nidoking, you know, because it is one of the things that is kind of halting Magnezone from having, you know, fun times and spamming Thunder on everything. So we're going to Mega up, and the question is what move do I want to go for? I could just go for a safe Drain Punch and get back up to full life, but then where does that really leave me? Crest probably comes in, and I don't, you know, have great stuff going on right there. So I believe we're just going to Mega, and I think Bulk Up, expecting him to switch probably into Crest would be my guess. It's just going to be, you know, taking the stab hits well enough. We're going to end up being able to outspeed, because of the not bringing Mega Absol, we're actually going to be able to outspeed the entire team, barring some stuff being Scarf, which at this point I'm pretty sure that Nidoking is not Scarf. And we're just going to pull a Bulk Up, and that is an awesome animation. I love that animation on Bulk Up. But he's just going to stay in an Earth Power, which we are going to be able to live because of Gallade's natural special defense. And we're down to a fairly sizable... No, we're down to a fairly low amount of hit points. And I'm thinking, you know, he might go Sucker Punch right here. And at first I think it looks like it might actually be a roll to kill with Life Orb, but then I remember, oh wait, I totally just bulked up, so Sucker Punch is no risk to kill. And what do we want to do here? At this point I think I'm just going to go for Drain Punch, get some HP back. You know, I'm going to say one bulk up is enough for right now, because I got a little tricksy plan, which I guess I already explained what it was. But we are just going to go Drain Punch here. I'm really expecting this to be a Rocky Helmet Crest for the purposes of killing off Raptor Bird, but it turns out it's not. So we get up to a decent range of HP. And yeah, here's gonna come a Hypnosis Cresselia's way. And if we can land this, it's actually gonna be pretty good, because I'll be able to get one, maybe two more bulk ups off. If it's not gonna be Rocky Helmet and we saw no leftovers, I'm gonna presume it's gonna be Colbur, which means I need to be as buffed up as I can. Unfortunately, we do miss a Hypnosis. And thankfully, however, well, I think I actually calculated, I was pretty sure if he didn't have any special attack investment, I would actually live an unstabbed Moonblast, which we do, albeit at 6. And at this point, my hand's kind of forced. I kind of have to, you know, go for broke and hope Hypnosis hits again. If it does, then we still got a fighting chance. If not, it is definitely going to be an uphill climb and might well just be a snowball effect from here on out, as I don't really know how we're going to be able to kill off Cress. I don't really want to, you know, I don't want to take the quick way out and just knock off, because he's going to have Colbur. It's not going to do too much, and then it's just going to be, you know, I just feel like it's not going to be beneficial in the long run. It's going to be a much bigger payoff and have the best chance to win if we can hit a Hypnosis, but unfortunately, as you know, Gallade spell save DC, you know, he's kind of a, you know, a hybrid, you know, fighter mage type thing, Eldritch Knight type thing going on, so unfortunately his spell save DC is not exactly very high, and Cress has proficiency in wisdom saves, so Cress is able to avoid not get affected by Hypnosis twice in a row. Maybe it actually has like Sylvan Ancestry, and that's why I can't get put to sleep. So that's a possibility. But anyway, unfortunately, missed 2 Hypnoses. And so, oh well, Proto Man, you know, you gave us a shot. You know, we'll give you. I don't know. We'll probably run it. We'll probably run the same set, or at least I don't know. It's a good idea. I think we're gonna run it again sometime soon, but unfortunately, it did not work out this week. So at this point, we're kind of shifting to damage control, because not a lot can really KO Cress. We can potentially nuke it with Raptor Bird, which I haven't sent out yet. So we're going to send out Raptor Bird now, and I think CB might actually be able to kill it from here, but we are just going to, we're unfortunately not CB, which I didn't want to be CB anyway because of Regirock and whatnot. And I think we're just going to give as much damage as possible, as it's going to turn into a rather humorous Stall War, mini Stall War by our standards on this channel, which you would not expect a Staraptor would be able to, you know, live very many hits, but you'll see. So we're thinking about what I want to do here. Do I want to, you know, try to make a play and, you know, have something happen to where we can maybe get back in it, and which would be close combat on a Regirock switch in, but I don't think he's gonna care. I think he's just gonna stay in and either, you know, try to kill me off with a, it'll probably have to be an Ice Beam action. I actually don't think Moonblast will kill from that range. So we're just gonna Double Edge, and he's just gonna make the right play, and just gonna Moonlight back up, which will cover pretty much all of the, all that damage, and of course it's gonna be dealing recoil damage to me. So possible idea here is to, you know, try to run him out of Moonlights. That's a possibility. And also before this, I don't know if I mentioned, I probably mentioned earlier, I actually heavily considered running sub on Raptor, but here I'm going to Roost and hope he Ice Beams and he Moonlights. So now he at least knows I pack Roost, so that at least covers the damage and means he's not going to be able to beat me down completely with recoil. But of course we did see Moonblast earlier, and we've now seen, yeah, we've just seen 2 moves. So we're just going to probably be trading off hits here between a, yeah, I'm just going to spam Double Edge because I am, again, Scarfed, Silk Scarfed, not Choice Scarfed, and Thunder Wave. So that would have been really nice to have a sub up, but I didn't really think it was worth it. I guess, admittedly, yeah, I think I was thinking about dropping Brave Bird for Mr. and not caring about Missy, just going with CC and Double Edge would have been sufficient. But now that I'm slower, he's just gonna do the right thing and just Moonlight up. You know, I'd certainly have done this many a time with Bliss. You know, T-Wave something and then Soft Boiled or you know, healing move of choice until you get a free one, and then go from there. And so the question is, does he have Ice Beam or not? So he's gonna Moonlight up again. I think I'm actually gonna pull a Roost here. I wanted to try to see what its 4th move is. There's the full para that was gonna happen eventually. And I think we're just going to click Roost. And I really wanted to Roost on Ice Beam. Unfortunately, he is going to Ice Beam without Roost. And Raptor lives it anyway because Cress is apparently really weak. That was pretty great. Seeing Raptor survive a Ice Beam when it was still super effective. So I totally could have just Roost all this thing out of Ice Beams. But oh well. So I don't think I bothered to PP up Roost whatsoever because you don't really expect that Raptor is going to be able to actually out-Roost somebody. But at this rate, the thing is at full life, and again, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Colbur, so it means it's going to be pointless for me to Dark Pulse. But now I've seen all 4 moves, so I'm going to go into Zone and maybe try to make something happen here, as we're going to be able to resist Ice Beam. And part of me actually just wanted this Ice Beam to freeze, just because it would be funny. But we gotta, what do we want to do here? He could just stay in, or he could go into Nidoking. I think in the end we're going to end up going Flash Cannon because, you know, maybe it provides me an opportunity if Nidoking does come in, we can at least shave a differential. If not, Flash Cannon might drop special defense and, you know, deal some damage, so maybe despite Colbur, we can make something happen with Dark Pulse on Greninja. So that's kind of the thought process here, as we're going to end up deciding to Flash Cannon. I believe he just stays in because why wouldn't he stay in? Cress can probably mop up the rest of the stuff with that, at least if it doesn't run out of Moonlight. So with Flash Cannon it does some. And Moonblast does, again, some. And here, what do we do? I believe at this point I kind of just want to... I kind of want to get some Death Fodder going on, I believe. As, you know, this is going to be super helpful. Just sitting in here and Flash Cannoning, you know, was mostly there to where if he wanted to make a switch into Niddo to try to get some, I don't know, some unnecessary stuff going on. But pretty much it was an attempt to capitalize on him making a mistake. And he's not going to make that mistake. So we're just going to go right back into the bird. And he's actually going to double out into Entei, curiously enough. Yeah, I think my other option would have been switch into Ninja, which that would have been great, but oh well. So he's just going to E-Speed, which is, you know, paralyzed, of course, but he's going to be Choice Banded into E-Speed. And I believe from there, I actually really thought about running Water Shuriken this week for out-prioritizing Sucker Punch, but as soon as I found out the Ninja did not get Break Break, I was kind of sad that he doesn't get Break Break and Low Kick doesn't kill Mega Absol, so that's why we just ended up going full special. And just run over the team really quick, and between rocks and... frog in my throat. Frog in my throat, and I've got a Greninja left. That's pretty fitting. E-Speed is going to be able to take out both Zone and Greninja from where it's at, so it's going to be Entei coming in. You know, may as well go for the mascot sweep, right? So it's going to be a good game to him. Really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, you know, Gallade not having enough spell save DC to maybe try to turn the game around with getting some bulk ups going on. But yeah, that'll be it. Alright, so that was a great game. Really enjoyed it. And I know what you're probably thinking in the comments. Like, Cooper, what are you talking about? Like, you just got 6-0. You know, why are you at all positive about this? Well, you see, we have been on the opposite side of the 6-0s actually quite a few times in the GBA. And I know how good they feel. So on the one hand, I'm happy for Geo. But more importantly, on the other hand, I just did not get, you know, upset or anything during the course of the whole game. And it really started with the crest gaff, and I was just laughing at that, and put me in a good mood, and you know, did not leave that for the whole game. So whereas there was games like most notably Season 4, the first game against John, where we just got like down in the doldrums, and that was just not a fun game. This was a fun game, despite the result. This was at least a fun game I did enjoy. So I would always prefer to have a game where it was enjoyable for the whole way through, rather than one where we kind of just got blah, 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 and just mentally completely checked out midway through the game. So, yeah, hopefully you guys have joined me in turning your frowns upside down. You know, I'm certainly not going to pout about it. You know, we got 10 more games this season, guys. So, the other thing too, and obviously, you know, whoops, you know, he did actually bring Tail Glow, and we didn't bring Unaware. But at the same time, you know, I knew we were going to get another shot at it in week 11. So there will be a rematch, and you know, we'll have to see if we can redeem ourselves then. But we'll go ahead and jump to Pokemon of the Game, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do for Pokemon of the Game, because sometimes I do one of theirs, and sometimes I say, nah, it's just going to be whichever one of mine I felt like had the best performance, you know, win or lose. And I can't really pinpoint one specific guy on his team, so we're just going to do one of mine, which is going to be the guy that gave us a shot to maybe have something happen in the middle of the game, which is going to be Mega Proto Man, coming through with a Hypnosis. Yeah, you might see that again sometime, because it's a very appealing notion. Galley, the master of status, unfortunately with the low spell save DC, and Crest with the high wisdom saves. But oh well, at least gave us a shot. I believe he said he did have a Scarf Zapdos, which I think with T-Bolt does about 50%. He might have also had Air Cutter, I'm not sure. But anyway, we probably would have had to like Drain Punched up to be well above half in order for it to be, you know, anything that was actually notable. But you know, I figure, hey, if we could have actually gotten up to, I was hoping to get maybe +3, you know, then maybe something cool could have happened. But it at least gave us a chance, you know, gave us an avenue to maybe win the game. And, you know, generally I'll take an avenue to maybe winning the game versus something that, this, you know, is going to end up being a losing play, but it might give me some differential. So, you know, so Galley, you know, it was a great set. I felt like if it had hit, certainly would have been a big payoff. And I would have hoped it would have been a big payoff. Hopefully it could have converted it to at least one KO. But I don't know. I like the idea of the set. You know, you might see it again in some form or fashion. Hypnosis is certainly a risky move, but man, that's really fun if you actually hit it. So, but moving on to next week and leaving this one in the rearview mirror. Well, remember how I told you to turn your frowns upside down? Go ahead and turn them back right side up. Yeah, right side up. Because if you thought a 6-0 this week was bad, we're gonna get 7-0'd next week most likely, because we got to play Battler X. And that's freaking horrifying. I mentioned in my coach interview I did not want to have to play Battler X. And lo and behold, he's in my division. And we got to play him twice, and that's horrible. I'm pretty sure, I haven't checked the doc in a while, but I'm pretty sure Battler X is like, spoilers, by the way. I'm pretty sure he's like 2-0 plus, I think he's plus 13. I think he's plus 13. Because someone, I don't know, maybe he's plus, I think he might actually be plus 22. We had like a discussion about this because someone brought a Mega Rayquaza EX against him one week, and he knocked that out. And as you know, EXs are worth 2 prize cards, so he got a 7-0 that week. So I think he's at plus 13, but it's either that or I think he like knocked out something so hard it like knocked out every poke on their bench too. It was like one big, like he's gonna go into a bowling alley and he just like bowls a strike, and it just knocks out like the 5 pokes on their bench too. So I think he might actually be plus 22. I forget how we scored that, whether or not we counted the bench KOs or not. But yeah, suffice to say, he's a horrifying guy. He drafted Sawsbuck, so he's pretty much just taunting the rest of the league. Yeah, we'll see if we can have something good happen. You know, if we get out of it with, honestly, like it would probably be preferable differential wise to forfeit, but we're not going to forfeit. You know, I don't want to take the 03. You know, I'm going to take my 06, 07, 05, whatever we can get it down to. You know, we'll take it. we'll take it as best we can. So you know, I just want you guys to, you know, be prepared for the bloodbath that is going to go down next week. Just go ahead and make your peace with it, as I've made my peace with it. I've made my peace with this game, and hopefully you can do the same. So I'll see you guys next week for a game against the Sawsbucks. It's gonna be it's probably gonna be ugly, but hopefully we'll be able to make some entertainment value out of it nonetheless. Later days.